Brooklyn Nets' decision to ban an unvaccinated Kyrie Irving from joining the team has received mixed reactions from the public. However, the Nets have one major supporter in the New York governor, who herself recently praised the organization for taking a stance against Irving's decision not to get the vaccine. According to the governor, the Nets made a clear statement with their decision on Kyrie Irving. She stated, "I think the message is that the team itself supports vaccinations." After delivering a speech at the Barclays Center promoting the vaccine to kids under age 12. The vast majority of their players are vaccinated, and they're here to support making sure that members of the community are vaccinated. That's the takeaway from today's event, she stated. The COVID-19 vaccine has been one of the more polarizing issues, not only in the NBA, but in the entire nation as well. The Nets received praise for not allowing Irving to participate in team activities unless he is a full participant. However, it also comes as no surprise to the organization, which was heavily criticized by anti-vaxxers everywhere. Unfortunately for the New York governor, her noteworthy effort to promote the vaccine came with a bit of a hiccup. The governor did not seem to be aware of the city's mandate on unvaccinated players, and she provided a confusing response when asked to share her thoughts on the same. The New York governor recently admitted that she's a bit confused about the league's policy allowing unvaccinated players from opposing teams to play in New York, while players on their own team, Kyrie Irving of the Nets, are banned from playing in home games because of their decision to not get vaccinated. As it turns out, this is not a league mandate. The policy comes from the city, which is why the governor has received quite a bit of stick for bringing about confusion to the matter. If unvaccinated players from opposing teams are allowed to play in New York, then the mandate banning Nets superstar Kyrie Irving from playing in the Barclays Center becomes questionable at best. The fact that the governor herself is confused about the situation makes matters even worse. This is an issue that is definitely worth monitoring, considering how the Nets themselves have basically told Kyrie that he must get vaccinated before he is allowed to rejoin the team. Will the organization have a change of heart if the city eases up on the vaccine mandate? And salute to you guys for pulling up today, man. I just had to drop this news as I heard it. The situation with Kyrie Irving has taken a very peculiar turn. As now we even see that the governor of New York is just as confused about their own vaccination mandate as everyone else. All right. It was very surprising for her. Again, it was her office that drafted this particular bill. And it was very surprising for her to not be able to explain why players from other teams who are unvaccinated can come play in New York, but yet Kyrie Irving, who's unvaccinated, can't play in his own city. It's just extremely confusing. And that's something that they're going to have to clear up. Those are issues in that bill that can potentially create some legal concerns, especially if Kyrie Irving starts to amass these fines and he's losing out on game checks. Will the state of New York be liable because their definition on unvaccinated players is extremely unclear, as that it only negatively impacts players in New York, but doesn't impact any players coming into New York. So again, that's something that's confusing right there. That's something we're going to want to monitor over the next couple of weeks. Maybe the governor in the state of New York, they're going to back down off this vaccination mandate and actually go ahead and allow players to start participating. Because again, when you draft a bill of this magnitude and you have a player like Kyrie Irving, who admittedly uses a lot of his money to support the community around him, support black businesses, even support the WNBA. We've seen him do that in the past. He's now missing out on game checks because of this vaccination mandate. And you can't blame the Nets because their hand is forced. They have to look at this from the basketball side of things. Do they want to just allow them to play road games and miss home games? Then you have to worry about chemistry and consistency, and that could become a major issue. So we need to monitor this situation. And ultimately, if the mandate itself is not clear, then I almost feel like we automatically have to side with Kyrie Irving in this particular issue, because the bill itself is biased towards players within New York for whatever reason. And this is something that they will need to address. They will need to address this and get this cleaned up. So I feel like as it stands right now, because that bill isn't clear, and I didn't even know that first going into it, I think that's something that we now have to stand behind Kyrie Irving with until they're able to clear that up and give a clear definition on what players can and cannot play. I also like the fact that it was brought out in this that she believed that was an NBA policy, and that was not an NBA policy. The NBA is simply deferring to what the law states. And what that mandate, what that law now states, is what they're abiding by. Again, maybe this is something where the NBA, and I think the NBA should take more of a stance in getting the state of New York to give a more clear cut definition of this, because at this point in time, there's players, it's primarily Kyrie Irving, he's essentially losing millions of dollars as he awaits for clarity on this particular issue. But you guys, let me know what you think about this particular topic. Do you still stand behind Kyrie Irving, or are you just one of those people that are just adamant about all of these players getting vaccinated? Remember, we go live all the time. This is just another topic that we can bring up for discussion. Again, I just like to bring the facts to light, regardless of what side you're on. Let's have the conversation about this. But I think the state of New York is at a major disadvantage right now, as they need to get this cleared up. And as the new mayor of that city is going to get elected, we're hearing grumblings that the new mayor may make major changes to this vaccination mandate, which will allow Kyrie Irving to play. But again, we're still a few months away from that even happening. So again, you guys, let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about the NBA, the state of New York, and Kyrie Irving. As these new details get revealed, more pressure is going to get applied to New York to make a clear decision on what they want to do with Kyrie Irving. But hey, it's FYF Sports, man. It's been another great podcast episode. We're going to be back with more sports and news later, live streams as well. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter, all of our social media. Even on Facebook, we have a page. We're on Newsbreak as well. So again, just scour social media. Just type in FYF Sports Debates. Follow us. Subscribe to the channel, and we're going to keep the content coming. Hey, but it's FYF Sports, man. Another great podcast episode. We'll be back with more sports and news. Until then, it's FYF Sports.